What is going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video on the channel where today we are back with another Zombies Q&A, taking your questions from the comment section below and answering them. As always, if you do go into enjoy today's video, a like rating would be very much appreciated. Could we reach for 1,115 likes on this video? If so, that would mean an awful lot to me. Make sure you guys are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest Zombies content if you haven't already, and also click the bell notification icon next to it as well. But with that all out of the way, let's get straight into it. Here we go. And the first question of today comes from Dan Wills, and he says, what was the green light in Shadows of Evil? So I know exactly what this guy's talking about. Just outside of the map in Shadows of Evil, near to the area where you do the ritual for the boxer, there is a green light on the decking, and there was a rumor, or actually there was a video made by someone in which it said that if you throw a little Arnie under this light, you can create a portal. It basically creates a rift outside of the map, which was kind of like an Easter egg, I guess you could say. Now, since then, this has been debunked, and actually this isn't true. This was never an Easter egg, and in fact, the original video was fake. But like I said, that was the rumor. This green light was supposed to be a portal. If you throw a little Arnie underneath it, it opens up another rift. And around Shadows of Evil, we have several rifts. I don't really know why a lot of people believe this in the first place. I don't think it was very convincing, and also there's no way you can actually get to this side of the map. There is no way you can get outside, and I guess it's kind of like the portals that you can open in, I hate to say it, but Transit. In Transit, where you have the lampposts, or the lights that hang just above you, and you can open a portal below them using, I think you have to use a denizen, but you open a portal that allows you to teleport from one light to another. And this kind of reminds me of that, but getting back to your question, yes, this was rumoured to be an Easter egg in Shadows of Evil, but it's being debunked and it's not actually true. The next question is from Shuttershock, and they say, hey BOA, who created the driver on the transit bus, and where did the bus come from? So beginning with your first question, we don't know who created the driver on the transit bus. However, we do know that transit takes place in the future, specifically on October the 21st of 2035. And so clearly, as you can see in the future, we are going to have buses that are driven by robots. Green Run doesn't specifically look like a futuristic map, but apparently in the year 2035, we have robots that drive buses. Who was Ted made by? Well, we do know the bus company that owns this bus and transit is Bloodhound. Bloodhound is a reference to the Greyhound buses, which I believe is in America. So if Bloodhound runs this bus that Ted is driving, then I would say that they are the ones who made him. But then again, we don't really know. As for your second question, where did the bus come from? Well, originally we know that the first one of our transit characters to ride this was Russman. And we know that Russman got this bus from the Broken Arrow facility. Since he used to work there when the Broken Arrow facility got shut down and Russman lost his job, he stole this bus from the facility and then used it to travel around the Earth. So where did it come from? Originally we don't know, but we do know that Russman got it from the Broken Arrow facility in Nevada. Billy the Super Saiyan says, why did Hitler want an undead army? Well, it's the same reason as to why he wants an undead army on World War II zombies. The situations are very similar. On Treyarch zombies, we know that Group 935 and the Nazis made a deal together because 935 were running out of funding, and so they went to the Nazis and said to them, Luke, we'll provide you with an undead army to win the war, but in return you need to give us funding to do the projects that we want. And so that's exactly what they did. Hitler wanted an undead army from Group 935 to win World War II. And as I just said, it's pretty much the same for Sledgehammer's take, World War II zombies. Hitler told Dr. Straub to create him an undead army so they could win the war. Since World War II was coming to a close, Nazi Germany's enemies were winning, Nazi Germany was about to lose the war, and so, in one last final ditch attempt, Hitler told Dr. Straub to create him an undead army, and that's what he did. Andrew Harvey says, who was the girl in the Black Ops 2 promo poster? So I remember when this first came out and everyone had different ideas as to who this was. Clearly now we know who this is. This is Misty. But at the time we didn't know. And there was a lot of speculation. Some people were saying that this was Samantha Maxis when she'd grown up. Some people were saying that this was Dempsey's daughter. Obviously the transit crew was a whole new set of characters to us, so we didn't know who they were, and it would have made sense at the time that it possibly could have been Samantha when she was older, since we know that at the end of the Moon Easter egg, Richtofen and Samantha switch bodies, and so now we are playing as Samantha in Richtofen's body. So at the end of Black Ops, we didn't know where the storyline was going. And as I said, we also knew that in Black Ops, Dempsey had a daughter. He spoke about her quite a few times. So we thought that it was possible that maybe this was her. Obviously, Dempsey is a badass. And as we can see from this image, this girl, which we know is Misty, is clearly a badass. She's holding up a skull of a zombie. So there was a link that it could have been her. Now, of course, like I've said, this is Misty, but at the time we really didn't know. And believe it or not, there's still a bit of speculation as to who this is, but come on, we can see for obvious reasons who this is. It's my favourite game, I love it, it's my past... What? I don't know. This person says, on BO2, on the map raid, it says zombies are coming on some sticky notes, and that's right, it actually says this on quite a few other maps as well. Raid, Standoff, and a couple of other maps. I can't remember what the train one is called, but on the notice boards it says on sticky notes zombies are coming, and of course this was just a reference, a little Easter egg towards zombies. Doesn't really mean anything. The next question of today from Naruto Master 16 says, is Dr. Monty human? Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I've actually wondered this myself a couple of times. A lot of people have told me that they think Dr. Monty is a keeper, that the Shadow Man was a keeper, but as we can clearly see, he is a human, or at least he looks like one, so what exactly is he? Well, if we take a look at the Chronorium, one of the very first things it says is this. In the beginning, there was only the Ether and the Keepers. Among them were two beings who would later be known by many names. One would be known as Dr. Monty and the other as the Shadow Man. So in here, it describes Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man as beings. Now that doesn't really give us too much, but the definition for a being is either something that just simply exists, existence, or the nature or essence of a person. So a being is what we would also, well, generally refer to as a human. So in the Chronorium it tells us that Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man are beings. And this also kind of tells us that they're not keepers because it separates the keepers from Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man. It says in the beginning there was only the Ether and the Keepers, and then there was also two beings known as Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man. It doesn't say that along with the Keepers, or that part of the Keepers was Dr. Monty. It says among them were two beings known as Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man, so it differentiates them from that group. So I think that pretty much tells us that Dr. Monty or the Shadow Man are not keepers. They're in fact humans. We do know, however, that the Shadow Man did eventually turn into an Apothicon when he was corrupted by the Dark Ether, and just like the other Apothicons, he changed where eventually he resembled nothing of his former self. We know that originally the Apothicons were keepers, who became infected, and then once trapped in the Dark Ether for so long, they changed over time and looked nothing like their former keeper selves. Some of them had 3 heads, which is the Margwa, some of them had wings, which was the Parasites, tentacles, many eyes, the Meatballs. So because these Apothicons were in the Dark Ether for so long, they changed, and that exact same thing happened to the Shadow Man. He was a human who got turned into an Apothicon by the Dark Ether. It corrupted his mind, and eventually, just like the others, he changed into this. He went from this, his normal being self, to this, his Apothicon form. But as we can see, the Shadow Man clearly has the ability to morph between different versions of himself, whereas Dr. Monty, we know he didn't get infected. He didn't become an Apothicon, and he is still a human as we know him now. Boy Turf says, why isn't the Shadow Man ever mentioned in Black Ops and Black Ops 2? Well, it's pretty simple. Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man just weren't thought of back then. They weren't actually part of the story during Black Ops 1 and 2. They weren't in Treyarch's mind, part of Treyarch's storyline, but as we know, they were added on in Black Ops 3. And since they've been added on in Black Ops 3, they've then involved them in a way to look like they were there all that time during Black Ops 1. It's pretty hard to explain, it should be self-explanatory. But as I said, the Shadow Man and both Dr. Monty just simply weren't thought of and weren't involved in the storyline. They weren't characters that had even been made up during Black Ops 1 and 2. It was only in Black Ops 3 where Treyarch came up with these ideas, and that's when they were added. If you're saying, well, Eli, Dr. Monty was supposed to be watching us over the Black Ops 1 and 2 maps, so why don't we see him? Well, he actually was present during Black Ops 2, but only at the end, only on Origins did we first see a little hint that Dr. Monty was there watching over us. We knew that we saw his scarf in Origins, his red scarf, which was our first hint towards him, and then also the ending cutscene for Origins was the kids in Dr. Monty's Perfect Universe. It was them in the house. But there we go. That is all I have for you guys for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, leave a like rating. If you haven't, leave a dislike. It's totally up to you guys. Make sure you leave your comments in the comment section below on any questions that you want answering. As I've been saying for the past couple of ones now, it's really difficult to find any questions that I can really answer or that are worth answering or that I haven't answered already. So if you do want yours in the video, it has to be a good one, something interesting, not simple and that I haven't answered already. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you click that notification icon next to that subscribe button as well. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.